there are three distinct levels of challenges that you will face in business. Level one, I call proof of concept. This is all about developing your mindset, believing in what you do, and it's all about sales. Getting to your first six figures is all about sales and learning how to ethically and within integrity turn an interested party into a client. One of the most consistent mistakes I see in business is people try and jump the sales pillar. They go into product, they go into research and development and all these other things. You really want to drill this sales-based approach. It comes first. The next one, level two, is all about leverage. So leverage is, okay, now I have a business. How do I produce 5 or 10 times more results without working harder? How do I make sure that I can grow my business without just my manual human energy? Here we look at systems. We look at automated lead generation. We look at delivering your product in a leveraged way that isn't all about you. See, if all lines are coming back to you in your business and you're running a $25,000 per month business, you can't double the business, because if all the lines come back to you, you double the vectors, you double the lines, you double the energy, and you burn out very, very quickly. So you want to leverage yourself before you try and scale, which is level three. Level three is scale. Now, the best way to scale is to take the systems that you have proof of concept with, build a team to take care of those manual processes and actions and results and outcomes in the business, and make sure that the profitability in the business is really high. So these are the last pieces: team and profit, which I believe is perhaps the most difficult one, because now it's not all just about you. It's about other people. It's about you being a manager. So these are the three levels: proof of concept, leverage, and scale. In this podcast episode specifically, what I'm going to do is break down those levels, the challenges that people face, the mistakes that people make, and I'm going to go deep into them. Now, if you have a business and you want to scale your business, I'm sure this episode will connect with you and provide you with a really tangible insight into how to go to the next level. This is the system that I've been using with my clients for the past 3 years now, and it is likely the most impactful because it's the most simple. And when you boil things down to the very simplistic nature of things, like saying that there's 3 areas of life: health, wealth, and relationships. It's really that simple. There are only 3 areas of life: health, wealth, and relationships. And when you start to think of it like that, you go, all these other things that I'm doing, perhaps I can just simplify and focus on getting 1% better in those 3 areas, or getting 1% more effective, or 1% more impactful every single day. Over the space of 10 years, you can master your life. Now, this is the anatomy of business, what I'm sharing with you today. This 6 pillars approach, which is nested inside these 3 levels: proof of concept, leverage, and scale. You really want to master this, because when you master this, you become a master of any business, not just your business. See, it's always been the goal of my life not to just be a participant. I don't want to be an employee of my business. I want to master business. I want to master the wealth building process. I don't want to be a slave to anyone. And I want to control my life. I want to be in charge of the outcomes that I produce consistently for the rest of my life moving forwards. So this one system will certainly help you to do that if you're prepared to do the work and do the study. We run a business school. This is the curriculum, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3. This is exactly how we run things moving forwards. Every single day I see people wanting to jump to level 3, level 4, level 5. You really just want to ground yourself in the right principles at the right moment, and you'll simply scale much easier and more effectively. So look, there's 3 ways that we can help you scale up further. Way number 1, if you haven't yet purchased my book, benslatersbook.com, you can grab my book, The Business Owner's Guide to Profit. That book hits across all of these different areas, and I'm guaranteeing it will help you to scale up. The second thing is, if you love the content and you want to engage with us even more, we publish content every single week. We publish not only this podcast, we also publish a new video breaking down a new system, a new topic, a new strategy that we've created, and that's at systemsforbusiness.ai. So make sure you head there consistently, because you're going to get an education. We're a business school. We love to teach, and we believe we're very good at teaching our principles. So we'd love you to start heading there consistently so that you can start getting indoctrinated into the way that we do things, which I believe is very different and can provide people with a lot of breakthroughs if they do the study. Now, the last way that we can really serve you is if you want to take this off the internet and you want to go one-on-one, working with us, chatting with us directly. We take calendar applications into our calendar every single week. I take about 50% of the volume. I've got another guy, Connor, who works with me that takes about 50% of the volume. You can book in a call with us. So if you want to claim that, just head to systemsforbusiness.ai, follow the link there. There's a booking call link that you can follow. So let's get into the episode today. There are three distinct levels of business growth. Level 1 is called proof of concept. This will get you from 0 to 6 figures in your business, or 0 to 10K per month, whichever comes first. Level 2, I call this leverage, from 10K to 50K per month in your business. And level 3 is all about more time and more profits, because when you're from 50 to 100K per month, now you've got team, now you've got operations, now you've got systems, now you've got expenses, and we need to focus on that if we want to build a 7-figure business. Now, a great mentor of mine, a guy called Scott Alford, a few years ago taught me a concept called the 6 pillars. And he said, Ben, there are 6 pillars of business. You have mindset, sales, product, lead gen, team and operations, that's 1, team and operations, and finance. Those 6 pillars, what you want to do, pull out a piece of paper and grab this piece of paper, and Ben, what I want you to do is write down all of the problems that you're currently facing in each of those pillars. And I remember the first time I did that exercise, it was just the biggest slap in the face for me. It was really, really tough because I had to pull my head out of the sand. And that was about 2 years ago. And I'll tell you this, 2 years on, I've only just now, and I would say in the past 90 days, gotten a handle, a true handle on all of those issues that I was facing. And I actually feel like I'm doing well in all of the 6 pillars of my business. Now, this is an insight into the real life of a business owner, in my view. You want to master these 6 pillars. So if you're a basketball player, if you're a LeBron James, and you say, okay, I want to go and make the NBA. When you're really young, you probably start working on dribbling. You probably start working on your conditioning. You probably start working on your jump. You probably start working on your basketball IQ, your defense. You get your fundamentals. These 6 pillars are the fundamentals of business, in my view. And if you're a business owner and you do not know these, and you're not striving towards these, I believe that you're not really a business owner. You're simply a glorified employee, because you will always have a job. You will never transcend unless you know how to operate through these 6 pillars. So this is an incredibly important concept. I've broken it down into level 1, level 2, level 3, because when Scott taught this to me, what I did was I sat down and I said, okay, wow, this is really connecting with me because I'm seeing all of my problems fit into this. This is super relevant for my business. But I was at that point mentoring and helping people with marketing and sales and all of these different areas of business specifically. It was more focused on one of these pillars at any one moment. But what I started to see in all of the calls that I was facing, I started to see that depending on where a person was in monthly income, cash flow coming into the business, that with a 95 to 99% likelihood, without even speaking to them, I could guess what their problem was, because I started to see that this 6 pillars framework wasn't just a pillars framework, it was also a spectrum, meaning that you go through. So you imagine that you've got the light spectrum. You've got red on one side, and then you've got violet light on one side, and then it goes ultraviolet out of the visible spectrum. And then if you go down to the very left where it goes to red, and you go underneath red, it goes to the infrared spectrum. So ultra and infrared comes in and out of the visible spectrum. And there's an octave of colors, right? There's 7 colors. This concept that I'm teaching you is very similar for business. This is the visible spectrum of business. It's what we can see and experience, and it's a universal law. Like as human beings, we have 2 arms, and pending an accident or hoping that nothing goes wrong, we have 2 legs, we have sexual organs, we have a chest, we have a back, we have eyes, we have a mouth, we have a nose. We are all incredibly similar in the way that we are made up. Businesses are exactly the same. They have an anatomy. This is the anatomy of business. Now, you wouldn't become a physiotherapist, a person who is becoming a professional at studying the body, without studying that anatomy. And this is really what I'm saying. If you are unprepared to study the anatomy of business, you will never be a true business owner, in my view. And really, you want to transcend eventually the business owner and become an investor. And that's the key, is to have not just active income, but also passive income, which is some of the stuff that I'm really studying at the moment, because I'm really at that finance pillar in my life right now. For the first time, I have very consistent profits coming into my business, and I need to figure out what's next. How do I turn my business into a legacy, not just a really great cash cow that can support my lifestyle? So let's go through these pillars, and I'm going to talk about the key things that you want to hit inside of each pillar and inside of each level, level 1, level 2, level 3, so that you can scale more easily. Level 1, proof of concept. So mindset and sales, these two for me work so, they're married parties, let's say. These two are so interconnected. Your mindset and your ability to sell. For me, the key to it all is self-worth. I really believe that the true currency of entrepreneurship is self-worth, valuing yourself enough to take care of yourself, valuing yourself enough to honor yourself, valuing yourself enough to sell your product and service. My secret weapon when it comes to mindset, it's not really a secret weapon, it's actually incredibly simple, is to train my body every single day. I have seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of case studies and examples. It's the people, it's how they do one thing is how they do everything. And if you're telling yourself right now that, I need to go and build my business so I can't train my body, what will happen is you will develop a resentment for your business because you're not actually honoring yourself. You're not honoring your body. You're pushing too far into the mind and you're not honoring the present, which is the body that you have. It's an imbalance. So what I do is every single day before work, I train my body, or if I'm doing yoga, I'll usually do that in the afternoon. Within a 24-hour period of my work, I will want to train my body. The next thing is eating the best foods available to you. Again, this is a self-worth hack. If you're putting junk into your body, how do you expect others to not give you junk? How you do one thing is how you do everything. What you do with yourself is what you will expect from others. So again, it comes back to this. You need to start treating yourself in the right way. If you're a doormat to yourself and you put rubbish into yourself, how do you expect to sell effectively, preeminently in your business? So can you see how these two are so interlinked, this mindset and this sales approach? So health for me is incredibly important. The next thing is intimate relationship with partner. If you do have a intimate partner, a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something evolving in that notion, you really want to focus on this and become the best partner that you can be. Because being a great partner will teach you about the dynamics of masculine and feminine. And when you understand those dynamics in your intimate relationship and you really study those and you understand, okay, this is how this game is functioning, this cosmic dance that I'm in with this person that I love, this is a perfect metaphor for how your business will perform. And again, you want to ground yourself in this and really, really focus on that. It's funny because when the business isn't going so well, I can guarantee you that these are often the two things that are most frequently falling off the cliff: health and intimate partnership. But what I'm really saying here is those two are even more important because they form the bedrock for all of the work that you will do moving forwards. So you really want to focus on those two. So what I'm saying here, grab some books, grab some resources. If you're hearing this right now and this is polarizing you a bit and you're saying, oh shit, I'm not feeling good about those two areas, this is an invitation. Make a shift. Because if you make that shift, I can guarantee you, you'll move forward. So I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of case study examples that state exactly that. So once you do that, you get your mindset in check. You're developing yourself personally. You're likely reading books from people that inspire you. Education is huge. You're healthy. You're moving forwards. You're eating good foods. You're in harmony with your intimate partnership and your relationship. You're also feeling good socially. So many people that I see, they enter into a business to try and prove something socially. I wouldn't recommend that, because it's all going to be about how it looks and feels as opposed to how it really is. And what I mean by that is how it looks and feels on the outside, not on the inside. When I first started my business with my brother, I was guilty of exactly that. I was coming off a history of serious drug abuse and, was hanging out with a bunch of people. And for me, I just threw all of my energy into building my own business. And what ended up happening is we just thought that building a social media following would be a really good thing. And at that stage, look, it was okay. Building a social media following. We built 25,000 people on Instagram, and we'll post photos and do all of this stuff. And look, it got us started. It moved us in the right direction. But at some point, we realized that we weren't actually doing it because it was helping us to move forwards, but because we were trying to uphold this perception. And this is probably the most frequent mistake that I see in the lives of those people trying to acquire proof of concept. They place that proof of concept into the minds and the hearts of everyone else. And what I mean by that is they're searching for validation from the outside. That's why people focus really hard on networking. It's why they focus really hard on building a social media following. It's why everything looks perfect from the outside. All right, we've got filters on, everything looks amazing. But on the inside, there's chaos. For me, my brother and I, we were making $10,000 a month. That's great, right, for two young guys. But when you take out the expenses and you actually look at it, we were making $350 per week. Yet could you tell that by the way that we were showing up on social media? No. And funnily enough, I got to meet a lot of influencers. I got to meet a lot of people who were very large on social media. I can tell you this, there was not one of them that had any business acumen whatsoever. They had no idea what they were doing. All they were trying to do is build a perception. It was a house of cards. There was no real foundations. There was no truth. There was no essence to what they were doing. And the biggest benefit that they got was they got stuff for free. And I've met countless people who operate in that way. Not recently, because I think my marketing does a pretty good job of kicking those people to the curb. But the reality is that most people would rather be perceived to be successful than actually be successful. Because it's two different things. So sales is the next pillar. Now, again, another mistake that I see in the proof of concept level. People skip sales. 95% of people jump straight over it because it's scary. And I think it's scary because people don't like being shown a mirror. And sales for me is a mirror. Any of your reflections, things that you haven't owned about yourself will come back at you in sales. And I think this is the hidden reason why people hate it. And you only have to look at sales, right? Everyone blames the salesperson. They blame the used car salespeople. They blame the real estate agents. But really, what they're blaming is the lack of self-worth inside of themselves that disqualifies them from selling anything, and therefore they have to attack the people who do. It's a projection. This is a projection. It's a perfect projection of sales. And if you want to become a successful business owner, you have to cut away from that mass-minded, dense, and dumb belief that salespeople are bad. Salespeople are some of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. And here is the reason why. Sales is the science and the art of asking amazing questions. And if you're truly with a salesperson who knows anything about it, they'll be present with you. They will ask amazing questions and they will listen for your response and they will empathize with you. and they will understand you. That is all the marks of a great salesperson. So it's not really this sleazy game that everyone truly believes it is. You want to turn that projection inside and actually own it. And if what I'm saying right now is triggering you, I can guarantee you that the real work for you is there. The real work for your business is to internalize that projection and stop getting angry at the outside world, but to get pissed off at yourself for fooling yourself into thinking that there was something wrong with sales. So once you start doing those two things, you're taking care of yourself now, you're building your self-worth, and you're pulling sales into the natural and realistic frame. And now you're moving forwards. Typically what I see at this point is without any real knowledge of product, just pure hustle and grind and getting out there and communicating what you do and why you do it passionately, a business will move to $10,000 per month. And typically at this point, I hear all the excuses. Ben, what about this? What about this? Ben, what about systems? What about team? What about operations? What about products? What about lead gen? How are we going to generate leads? And what I say is I don't care about any of that stuff at the minute because I haven't seen an intense focus on any of those things truly benefit a business owner who is under 6 figures per year. But what I have seen is the people who truly take care of themselves and increase their self-worth and become a master of personal development. What I mean by personal development is looking in the mirror and just growing every single day. Not being of the masses, who are being victimized by everyone, but being a master. Dropping into that space. And then the people who love themselves enough to want to go and study sales and learn about how to communicate properly and effectively and learn how to ask great questions and learn how to listen and empathize with people and then to solve their problems. This will get you to $10,000 per month faster than developing the world's best product. So many people have this idea that when I build it, they will come. But that's not true. It's when they transact that they will come. And nothing happens until a sale is made. So you really want to ground yourself in that philosophy. So now you're at $10,000 per month. You have what I would call proof of concept. And look, proof of concept can exist a little bit sooner than that. Proof of concept exists when you can sell your product and you feel really amazing about the work that you do. And you feel good with your mindset. That's it. That's proof of concept. Once you have proof of concept, you want to leverage that proof of concept and scale the business. So here is where we look at the next two pillars, which is product and lead generation. Again, focus on sales before you focus on product. Trust me when I say this. You will scale faster if you do it in this route. I see so many people that just want to jump over sales. Oh no, Ben, I need to just improve my product by 20%. And I say, no, you need to improve your sales by 500%. And this is always the focus. It's 100% of the time. So product, the two things you want to focus on here. What is my average order value? There's three things actually. What is my average order value? What is my lifetime value? And what is my client results? The satisfaction that I can produce for my customers and clients consistently. What is the average result that I produce for my client? So the average order value is how much they invest with you on the first moment or the first sale. The lifetime value is, do they bring any referrals with them? Do they repurchase any products after they go through your first product? That's it. You've got average order value and lifetime value. So lifetime value is through time. Average order value is in the moment, the first thing that happens. And then you have client results. Are you consistently, repeatably producing an average result for your client that is awesome, that you're super happy with? Typically what I see here at the product pillar, say you're at 10K per month, with a few small shifts to the way that you deliver your product, adding an upsell at the end of your product, typically adding a higher ticket offering, something more involved, that's bigger and grander, and looking at your referrals, trying to bring in more referrals and delivering a better result to your clients, I typically see that you can go from $10,000 to $25,000 per month without changing anything with your lead flow at all. And that's the moment that you'll know that you've really mastered it, that you've mastered this average order value, lifetime value, and replicable, consistent client results. And only you can do that. Only you can do that work to figure out how you can create results for your clients. Once you do that, the next thing is lead generation. So right now, we've mastered mindset, we've mastered sales, we've mastered delivery to a point. The next thing is lead gen. So now we want to turn things up. I love paid lead generation because you are buying your freedom. Just in the past 30 days, we've reached millions of people with our advertisements, which is a crazy thing to think about. Right now, as it stands, it is the 19th of August, and so far this month we've spent about $7,000 or $8,000 on advertising, and our ads have been able to reach approximately, I'd say, it's about 800,000 people. And by the end of the month, it will be about 1.6 or 1.4 million people. Is that not amazing that you can do that in the modern world today? You can serve your message to that volume of people and you can inspire them to take action. I heard it said recently that your marketing will impact more lives by sheer volume size than you'll ever impact by working with clients. And I thought that was a pretty fascinating thought. And it makes sense. If you make a small shift into the lives of even just 0.1% of those people that see that ad, and you cause them to think differently. If you share a message that's inspiring and that creates change in that person's life, the ripple effect can be profound. So lead generation here, the key to this is to transition away from trying to build your following on social media and everything on the outside, building your website and all of that stuff, to building your email list. That is the shift that you really want to make. Change from social media to list building. So whether you build a networking audience, these are typically the three things I see for people under 25K per month. You've either done it from referrals, relying really heavily on referrals. You've relied really heavily on word of mouth, which is another form of referrals. You've relied really heavily on networking or organic marketing strategies, getting out there, foot to pavement, all of that kind of thing. Or you've been able to build some sort of organic social media presence. That's it. But you want to transition that energy that you've built, that proof of concept, away from that, those manual prospecting styles of business building, into an automated machine-based algorithm, which is lead generation. I don't consider relying on referrals, networking, or organic social media marketing. I don't consider that to be real lead generation. I consider that to be sales, not lead gen. Because sales is always one-to-one. Lead gen is always one-to-many. So this is the transition that you want to make. I see a lot of business owners get really stuck here. They reach that point and their whole identity is tied up in the hustle. And they've worked so hard for so long, they've probably sabotaged their social life to build the business to the level that they have. And as a result, I think people have a very deep-seated fear of building an automated system to do that because they're going to feel worthless afterwards. So this is something you really want to focus on, especially if you've had a really traumatic teenage years and you're trying to escape something from your past by building a business. Ooh, what's going to happen when I have space? What's going to happen when my calendar's not full? What's going to happen when I don't have to go to these coffee meetings and do all these things? See, this is the first shift, in my view, from desperation to inspiration. And it can be a very scary shift if you do not know how to navigate that space. I see so many clients with these problems. And the goal here is you want to transition into starting to build team. and creating all of that energy around the internal side of your business, not the external. And that's how you're going to get that feeling. But also, you really want to study things of spiritual nature and really study purpose. Study what is my calling in life, because that's what can inspire you. That's what can move you forwards. That's what is always the light that shines in the darkness. And look, I'm not saying that you have to be a positive thinker and think amazing. You're always going to have these dark moments and dark days. I think entrepreneurship, in its essence, are people who were typically gone through something super challenging in their lives. And I'm not saying to ignore that. I'm not invalidating that. But what I am saying is there will become a point in your business career where you have to start transitioning away from that back me up against the wall and watch me fight out energy. And this is the lead generation is the first piece of that. In my view, it's the first challenge that you can really start to build some systems energy so that you don't have to always fight, and you can start putting that energy into other things. So, as we've gone through the 4 pillars so far: mindset, sales, getting you 0 to 10K, product, and lead gen. If you operate through the things that I've just mentioned, you start building a big email list. And here's another key for lead gen. You want to put your money where your mouth is here. You want to double down. I'm a pretty unreasonable person when it comes to lead generation. I expect $10 back within 90 days of any single dollar that I invest into lead generation. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and that's what I expect from myself. Do I always hit it? No, I don't. Do I still expect it? Yes, I do. But the reality is, maybe you'll be a 5x. Maybe if you go really hard, you'll be a 20x. I've seen clients do 20x, 25x return on ad spend. But a reasonable expectation, a very reasonable one, is 5x. An unreasonable one is 10x. So really what I'm saying here is that if you're reasonable, then you need to invest at least $10,000 per month in advertising to get your business to $50,000 a month. If you're unreasonable, you can spend $5,000 a month and get your business to $50,000 a month. If you're incredibly unreasonable, you might be able to do it in 2.5 or something like that. But this is another stumbling block that I see, is people's inability to put their money where their mouth is because of the fear. And the only way that you can get past the fear is the real mindset work that I was talking about before, of transitioning from desperation to inspiration, but also by studying marketing and really understanding it. I read hundreds of books on marketing. If I was to look at my business library and the books that I've read, which at this stage would likely be well over 500 books, I would say at least half of them were marketing books. And the reason is because marketing is the most subtle. Marketing is a big challenge and it affects growth very profoundly, very deeply. Marketing and sales will really profoundly affect growth. And look, if you're unprepared to do what I'm saying, then I believe you're probably not ready to attempt to scale the business. Because if you can't put your money where your mouth is, you're not all in. And look, there's other ways to do it. Don't get me wrong. There's other ways to scale the business from where it is now. You can still do it through networking. You can still do it through referrals. You can still do it through all of these other channels. But the problem is that you will risk burnout if you do it in that way. I just had a conversation with a client yesterday, and they had a massive year last year. But the problem is they relied way too heavily on content marketing and just so much of it, just an obscene amount of content. And unfortunately, now they're suffering from burnout and they're struggling to get back to that same level. So you really have to think about, how am I doing this? What am I relying on? What are the resources that I'm spending here? Because human energy is not infinite. Your energy as a human being is not infinite. So you have to start transitioning. And this is why I call it leverage, level 2. Because in level 2, you have to start transitioning from desperation to inspiration. You have to start transitioning from manual human energy to systems energy. And that will prepare you for level 3, which is all about efficiency. So at this stage, you're at $50,000 per month. You understand marketing. You can generate leads with your eyes closed at this stage. You can sell. 50% of the appointments you book in are closing, or if you have an e-commerce store, you're closing consistent sales, 5 to 10% of people who reach your website. You're probably really good at email marketing now. You're good at content. You're good at serving your audience. You're good at creating things. You've got a solid mindset. You're able to deal with the peaks and valleys of business. And you get case studies, testimonials. People love the work that you do and it excites you. That comes across. These are the first 4 pillars: marketing, sales, delivery, mindset. Now we run into some problems. And this is, in my opinion, to be some of the harder work when it comes to business. Team and operations and finance. And in particular, I think team and operations is incredibly difficult. And the reason is entrepreneurs are more typically leaders. They're more typically the people who you could throw away by themselves over there and they'd go and do something meaningful. But when you start bringing in employees, when you start building out your team, and the reason you have to do that is because you just don't have the time and energy anymore. You have to start evolving. Otherwise, your social life falls down the toilet. Your intimate relationship with partner suffers greatly. You stop reading. You stop going to the gym. All those amazing mindset things you were doing, the journaling, the meditation, all of that starts dropping off because you get busier and busier and busier. But the business is scaling. So you're like, oh, what do I do? And then all of a sudden you reach a point and you turn around and you look at the business and you go, I hate you. And you want to burn it to the ground. I've seen it happen again, not only in my own life, but in the lives of the people that I've helped. And the reason for this is they relied too heavily on their own manual human energy. They didn't put down their weapons for long enough to actually build defenses, to build things to protect their energy. Entrepreneurship is a game of the management of human energy. And those that truly know that and understand that are the ones that can scale to 7 figures. I haven't seen it done in other contexts. I've never seen it done. So this operations piece, the next piece here, you're establishing a team and you're building systems. Really, you need to study operations. There's not many good resources out there. Unfortunately, in the marketplace, there is a lot of people that will tell you that the secret to scale your business, you're just one funnel away. You need to just market your business. You need to just sell more products and services. I don't believe that because I haven't seen it to be true in my life and I haven't seen any evidence for it in the outside world. But what I have seen evidence for is when you do reach around that $50,000 per month, going hard at team, going hard at finance. Because if you don't have the right team, at least 10% of your sales will fall through the floor. And that's going to cause volatility. My mentor, Dr. John DeMartini, said to me once, Ben, if you drop $100 on the floor and you had $1,000 in your pocket, how do you feel? I was like, oh, yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off, but it would be okay. He said, well, how do you feel if you dropped $100 and you had $100 in your pocket? And I was like, oh, I'd be probably pretty pissed off. He said, okay. Now, the reason for that is it's all perspective. He says people can tolerate roughly a 10% rise or drop in their net worth without any real emotional result. And this is what we're talking about. Because if you scale your business to $50,000 a month and your operations suck, what will happen is you'll get client refunds. There's going to be a lot of things that annoy you. There's going to be a lot of things that go wrong. You have to either hire or fire the wrong style of person, and it's going to cost you more than 10% of your monthly income. And at that point, if you haven't built wealth necessary, it will throw you into a tailspin and you will drop right back down to $20,000, $18,000, $15,000 per month, and you'll have to build your way all the way back up again. Scaling your business from 0 to 7 figures is a little bit like pushing a big ball up a hill. Now, it's imaginary, but you're pushing a big ball up and up and up a hill. If you take the wrong step, that ball's coming right back down on top of you, and you're going to go all the way back down the bottom. And look, this is an analogy because business doesn't always have to be hard, right? You might hear that and go, oh, Ben, that sounds really, really hard. And yes, it is hard, but there's also flow. And this is why the mindset is so important. Because when certain times in business, you can roll that boulder up the hill with just a pinky because things are just going that well for you. There's like a gust of wind happening. There's something going on in the background that is supporting you on that journey. It's the yin and yang of things. So team building is incredibly important. I believe the best way to build team is to think of it like this. You have 4 internal functions of your business. Admin and finance on the right-hand side. Then you have operations. Then you have sales. And then you have marketing. So you have growth functions on the left, generating the clients. And then you have delivering and what happens with the cash on the right-hand side. So it's like before, during, after sort of thing. I believe that you want to install staff and build team from the right-hand side of this organizational chart. Bringing someone in to help with admin, first and foremost, I think is the smartest and best hire that you can have in your business. I'm really blessed in that my partner Giovanna is pretty well working with me 100% of the time on admin, and she really loves that. She's really, really good at it. And what this does is it takes at least 25 hours per week off my plate so that I can focus on growth. And just immediately, that just clears up so much space, time, and energy for me. And I really believe this is a really great hire if you're at that $50,000 a month, or you're even a little bit below that and you want to start jumping into that pillar and exploring it. That's a really good one. The next thing that you want to do, in my opinion, if you're a client-based business, and even if you're a product-based business, it's the same, is to sort out the delivery, is to get someone in charge of the delivery to your clients and get them replicating the results. If you're running a coaching program, for example, this is where you want to transition away from doing all the one-on-one work to getting someone in to help you with the coaching, or getting someone in to help you with the build, getting someone in to help you with the manufacturing, getting someone in to help you with the dispatch and delivery, so that you can then go focus more on sales and marketing. I believe the third hire should be salesperson coming in so that you can work more on marketing. I believe the fourth person should be focused on marketing so that you have a head of sales, head of marketing, head of ops, and head of admin and finance. And as a result, you've got 4 people working together in your business, and you can start working on your business as the true visionary. I believe this is the path through operations, and really understanding that is critically important. Now, when you do that, the business undoubtedly will scale if you are doing things in the right way. Now, as I mentioned before, there's not many good resources when it comes to operations. Unfortunately, it's like wandering around in the dark with a bunch of tree roots hanging out and you're just falling over constantly and getting up. Everyone's talking about marketing. No one's talking about ops, which is a big, strange thing that I've noticed. And the thing about it is, the reason why I believe is that I don't think most people make it this far. It's said that only 4% of business owners build their business to $1 million per year. So if we're looking at $50,000 per month, probably 1 in 10 business owners make it to that level. And unfortunately, it's very easy to market that marketing is the solution. It's very easy to market, hey, here's this bright, shiny object syndrome. People don't want to hear that the key to business is operations. But for me, the truth is more important than anything else in my life. And I will tell you right now that it is an observed truth that I've experienced, that operations is the key to scaling a 7-figure business. It is not marketing. Marketing will create more headaches for you if you do not have your operations drilled, dialed in, and mastered. Now, I've only heard a very small handful of people share that. Very small handful of people. I think I've only heard 2 people ever in the 500 business books that I've ever read share that. So this is you could call this a hidden truth of business. Now, getting to the next level, finance. You really want to be paying yourself first. Finance, this is the number one principle that I have. I spoke a little bit about this last week in the podcast, or 2 weeks ago in the podcast, where finance, you really need to pay yourself first and worry about the rest later, because you need to force your business into profitability. And there's so much depth there. Like I said before, I'm really at that stage now where I'm really trying to think about it. I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm getting a clear, actually get to sit down and look eye to eye with finance in the right way, because those first 5 pillars of the business are functioning appropriately. They're systemized. They're working super well. And like everything in my life, once I really master those principles, I will teach them back. I will share them once I've actually got the solid understanding of how do I do this. It's really my genius, is to figure out how to systemize and model things. Like my There's a great test, actually. It's called Wealth Dynamics, where you can look at what's the best way for me to generate wealth. Me, I'm a mechanic, which means I love pulling things apart and putting them back together. And this is kind of what we're talking about, is my ability to develop intellectual property when it comes to this. But look, the key there is if your business, let's say you're doing $100,000 a month in income, and let's say you have a negative month. I just had a sales call actually with a guy just the other day who is doing $140,000 a month. And last year he made a loss, and he's lost all of his motivation and his inspiration. It's gone. It's absent. And I said to him, well, it makes perfect sense. If I'd worked my whole year for the whole year and made negative money, I would feel exactly the way that you're feeling right now. But really the key to it all for him was operations, which is dismal, and finance, and really drilling hard on that. He doesn't even want to make more sales. And that's a problem because you become blocked. There's a great quote, we don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training. This is really what we're talking about. I mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, this is the anatomy of business. You go to the gym, you want to train arms, you train a little bit of back, you do some chin-ups, you do some deadlifts, you do whatever you do, then you train some legs. This is exactly the same. There's no difference, except you want to do these in order for the maximum efficiency, maximum results as you go through on your path. So look, I hope you've enjoyed that episode. These are some of the mistakes, some of the things that I've noticed along the way. I hope you've picked up something that you can go, oh wow, that's a nugget of gold for me, or there's something on the horizon, or maybe something that you need to go back and fix because maybe you jumped over something. Maybe you tried to hurdle one of the pillars and maybe you've got the head in the sand with one of those pillars. So I'm hoping that waked you up like my great mentors have done for me in the past. And look, if you want some help to scale your business from where it is now to this high 6-figure or 7-figure range, if you really want to go for it, book in a call with me. You can do that at systemescall.com. That's systemescall.com. You just go to that URL. You'll be able to book through, fill in the application form, and you can book in a call with me. And what we'll be able to do is isolate this system and look at what is the number one pillar that you're going to work on for the next 90 days. Now, inside of each of these pillars, I've got at least 15 different models and things that I use with my clients that I've tested, that I've verified that work really, really well. In particular for marketing, sales, product delivery, mindset, team and operations. And we're really building a lot of really great stuff with finance at the moment as well. So no matter which pillar is your struggle, we can help you and serve you in that. And that's very unique about what we do, is we're very holistic in the way that we think. And I believe this is what enables us to get such amazing average results. We produce on average 10x revenue gains for our clients. So that means for every dollar our clients invest with us, we give them $10 back on average through the implementation of the principles, the models, the strategies, the tactics that we teach. And we've been tracking that for quite a long time. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm not sure if there's other businesses out there that exist that hit such high average results. And I would put that down to this ruthless capacity to peer to the truth, number one, and instead of looking at how things look on the outside, but really getting to the truth of the matter and just focusing on one thing at one moment, dealing with that, and then we move on to the next thing. And this is where the simplicity comes inside the Systems for Business approach. And look, if you've resonated with the podcast so far, if you resonate with the models, the principles, the strategies, the tactics, the stories that I share, I'm 100% certain that you're going to really pick up on some of this stuff and take it and go so far. These are just the average results that I'm talking about. Average results, 10x. You could be one of our best students. You could be one of the people that goes from zero to $180,000 a month within just 11 months. And I'd love to see you break that mark. I'd love to see someone do it. So that's systemescall.com. And if that's you, awesome. We'll speak to you then. If not, I will also speak to you in the next episodes.